being a goofball.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, I think we're like 2 minutes early, but I don't know. You snooze, you lose. You can always watch the replay. So at least we're not late. All right, so we're gonna try to keep this one to like 5 minutes. But I wanted to kind of talk about being your spouse's biggest cheerleader. He's looking at me like this. And the reason that I chose this topic for today is honestly because Ryan is my biggest cheerleader. And I have come to understand over the past, I think, year especially, just how important it is and how much it means to me and what it really does for me as a person, by having and knowing that he has my back. So I want to hear from you, babe. Why, like, you, obviously I said you are my biggest cheerleader. Like, why are you? Like, where did that come from? Did you really, like, think about it? Like, I want to be Allison's biggest cheerleader? Or did it just kind of, like, happen? Like,
no, not necessarily. Like, I don't sit around thinking, yeah, I'm really going to support her this time. But not all the time. I'm just going to support her this time. No, honestly, I think it was always just, I've seen the potential in you and the gifts and talents that you have. And basically, I'm giving you the support that has always benefited me. Mm-hmm. That I know that when I receive that positive feedback or that that cheerleading, if you will, about the things that I do well or the good ideas that I have, it always leaves me feeling invigorated and ready to go and conquer the world. And so I just kind of knew that if you were anything like me, which I think you are more like me than you'd care to admit, that would benefit you as well. But it wasn't really a conscious thing. It just kind of flowed out of the fact that I love you and I believe in you.
First of all, I will say I've not always been as good about this, but I've tried to be better, like conscious. I don't naturally gravitate towards that with anybody, and it's not because I don't love or believe in people. It's just my brain, for whatever reason, has kind of been trained to see criticize. It's not negative criticism so much as like I view things as constructive criticism, but I've noticed that is not. Constructive criticism doesn't always bring out the best in people, even if that's my intention. And so I know that for me, there have been so many times, like I said, especially within the past year, where I have felt like I don't believe in myself, or I'm feeling really discouraged, or like I'm failing at something or at being something, and you have just, with your encouragement and with your support, picked me up. And there are things that I have done, the only reason that I have done them and have been able to do them is because you were there cheering me on, and like you were my belief when I didn't have belief in myself. And I think that I've come to realize how important that is for us, particularly and especially in marriage relationships, is that people in general, I think, tend to rise to the level of what is expected of them, or what is, I think this keeps kind of slowly turning, what is expected of them, or what is believed about them. Mm-hmm. And so I think that when you call those things out in me, and when you speak life and belief into my, see, it's still, hold on, sorry guys, I think I need to tighten this.
Yeah, there's a little clamp.
I know, this is like, sorry guys, technical difficulties. But when you are calling that out in me, I rise to that. So even if I think that I like can hit this level, but Ryan's telling me, no, babe, you can do more than that. I believe in you. I believe that you can reach this goal. I believe that you can be this person up here. Then I tend to be like, okay, if Ryan believes that, then I think I maybe I can, maybe I actually can. And then I try and I do, and I, fulfill that because you spoke that over me. But I can't imagine if I was saying, oh, I can hit here, and you were like, yeah, that's probably all you can do. I would never push myself to do any more than that, and I would never know that I could actually be more or achieve more.
Well, and the truth is, there's no trick to this. It's not like a superpower or anything like that. It's just, I tell you what I see in you. And that's really all that it is. That there's a reason that I married her. And just try and remind her of those things.
What would you say then, like you said, you're calling out what you see in me. Mm-hmm. What would you say for people, like me, who struggle with maybe initially going to constructive criticism or something like that? What would you say?
Well, be very intentional about finding that good in your spouse. Finding that characteristic. There is a reason you married your spouse.
Yeah.
It's not just, hopefully, it's not just physical attraction. If it is, then your marriage doesn't have as much of a leg to stand on. There has to be something beyond that. And so, it's with you, I have looked and I've found your compassion for others, your passion for helping people improve their lives and their health. Yeah. And even just your entrepreneurial spirit, which I've always envied.
So basically what you're saying is like maybe finding those couple of things that you really do believe in your spouse, mm-hmm. and that you really do admire about your spouse, and just maybe starting with those things and speaking into those things.
You're really good at saying things in a way, in the right way after I say them incorrectly.
Oh, no. I'm just trying. No, I'm trying to. It's not the right way, wrong way. I'm trying to summarize to kind of like, I'm just trying to summarize. That's all. I know that we're probably hitting 5 minutes now, but I want to say this last thing, or ask this last thing, because I think it is important. Because there are people out there, I know that I am lucky to have you as a spouse, and you being the one who speaks into me. But, in that, I'm lucky to have you for a lot of reasons. But for that, that's one of the reasons. So, like, what about for those who their spouse does not? And maybe their spouse is the one that is critical, or realistic, right? Because that's always what it is. Well, I'm a realist. I'm not pessimistic. I'm a realist.
That really just comes down to communication. Because I know that for a lot of men, we don't know. We don't know what you need until you tell us. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's not that your husband doesn't care or that he's stupid or whatever. It's more that just he doesn't always notice, or he can't always tell what your needs are until you
are explicit with
verbalize them.
Yeah, I think sometimes we think that our hints that we drop or things are like clear,
and they're not. And they're not. They rarely are the hints clear, and that's we even talk about that every once in a while. She'll drop a hint about something, and I completely miss it, and it's not because I'm not paying attention. It's just because it's not the same language that I speak. So I think that's really, if you're really struggling with that, then make sure, go to your spouse and be like, hey, I need this from you. I need this encouragement or this positive reinforcement. Yeah.
And maybe help them understand why it's important to you, and what it would change for you if they fulfilled that and if they did that.
Yeah.
And I think too, being on the flip side, like I said, because I feel like Ryan was good at this first. And usually, I feel like with most things in marriage, there's one spouse that may be the one who goes first and does something first before the other one does. Yeah. And you can't, with nothing in marriage, can you wait until the other spouse, well, I'm going to do this when the other spouse starts doing it first. You have to be the one to go first, and you have to be the one. And so
your spouse's behavior, more times than not, your spouse's behavior is not going to change until you change yours.
Right, but then it can be an endless cycle if nobody's willing to go first.
Exactly. You've got to set the example, especially if if we're believers. That's the whole point. Set an example for believers, for other believers in speech and life and love and purity. If we set that example for one another, and that's part of being in a marriage relationship. We set examples for one another as we grow together.
Yeah, and we call out the best in each other. That's
exactly.
It should be about.
We push one another on to something better.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for watching. I hope that this was encouraging to you, and I hope that you have something to take away from this.